Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. And I guess I'll just go ahead and get right to it. Anyway, as you can see on the title, it's Mayweather versus Pacquiao, who's ducking who. And if y'all paid attention to stuff that's actually happening, then you know the answer to this question. And it's a little bit of a deja vu type moment this time, because it reminds me of an incident that happened when Mayweather and Pacquiao were in negotiations before Mayweather reported to jail on June 1st of 2012 last year. What happened was they was talking about the fight and negotiations fell through because at that time Pacquiao said, he still didn't want to do drug testing on fight day. And, the last update on it at that time, before Mayweather fought Cotto, and this was in February that year, last year, February 3rd. You seen that there was an article with an interview from Kantz, and Kantz was quoted as saying, yeah, we'll do the drug testing but not fight day. Any day except fight day is cool. And that's February 3rd. And keep in mind that Floyd and Cotto fought 3 months after that. This was like either right before or right after negotiations fell through and Mayweather ended up picking Cotto. Another thing that happened was Mayweather got the judge to push back the time when she had to report in for his jail sentence. He was originally supposed to go in earlier, but he got the judge to, put it off till June 1st, so he could fulfill legal obligations or whatever that he had to MGM Grand and fight on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. So Bob Arum comes in and he says Pacquiao's cut isn't going to heal in time. Let me remind y'all of Gabriel Rosado's fight against Gennady Golovkin. You see that Rosado had a bad cut in that fight that he fought with for like 5 rounds. Okay? That was January 19th, 2013. They let him fight with that cut on his eye for 5 rounds. Pacquiao's cut against Marquez was not that bad compared to that one. Okay? Rosado got back in the ring less than 4 months later. That was earlier this year. That was in January this year. He's fought twice since then. He got back in the ring 4 months later against Julian Love. And then he just fought again against Peter Quillin. When was it? Just about 1 month ago. A month and 2 days ago against Peter Quillin. Got a cut. And now he's about to fight again in 3 more months. There's a fight that they had to stop the cut on. They had to stop the fight for that cut. And that cut is worse than the cut Pacquiao had. And he's already got a fight coming up on January 25th. In about 3 months. It's about 2 days shorter than 3 months that he got that coming up. So I'm just like, how in the world did Bob Arum say it was going to take 6 months for Pacquiao's cut to heal? That's not even as bad as that one Rosado had. Don't make sense. And then on top of that, he's going to say that they need an outdoor stadium to be built and that the fight can't take place till the middle of June. But wait a second. You already know that before the year 2012 even started, it's still in 2011, Mayweather said he reserved the date for May 5th, months before that. And you already know that he got his freedom extended, to the end of May, so he reported on June 1st. The judge already gave him an extension, so it's highly unlikely the judge will give another extension since the reason that the extension was given is because he had legal obligation to fight on May 5th at the MGM Grand. So how in the world, knowing that, was the fight going to take place in the middle of June? And then on top of that, the stadium, it's over a year later, it's almost 2 years later, it's like a year and a half later, the stadium ain't even, construction on it ain't even started. This was last year. Same thing again this year. Just after Mayweather beat Canelo 2 months ago, he said he'd come back on Cinco de Mayo weekend and Mexican Independence Day weekend in 2014. So that's going to be May 3rd. That's a Saturday. And I'm not sure what day in September Mexican Independence Day is. I think it's September 16th. I think it's September 16th. That makes it a Tuesday. So that means Mayweather will fight on Saturday the 13th. That means he's fighting Saturday the 13th and Saturday, September 13th in 2014, as well as May 3rd 2014. That's the 2 dates that he has planned. So, and he said that 2 months ago after he beat Canelo. So now Pacquiao, he just fought Brandon Rios, I think last week or the week before. Yeah, it was this last weekend. He just fought Brandon Rios. And now they're talking about, they're looking at Mayweather as an opponent, but get this. They say they want to fight April 12th. They say April 12th is when Manny's coming back. That doesn't sound like May 3rd to me. And that's why I said deja vu. Because when there was negotiating for the Cotto fight last year, that's the same thing that happened. Mayweather had his Cinco de Mayo weekend date reserved. Pacquiao's team comes in talking about they're looking for a Mayweather fight. And negotiations fall through and people say Mayweather's ducking. But, get this. How is Mayweather ducking when he already got his fight date set in advance? And Pacquiao says he wants to fight on a different date other than the one Mayweather said he's fighting on. Think about that, y'all. Because if you do think about it, some things will make a lot more sense.